I never thought that I would ever make any amount of content involving, well, drama, but here we are. The reason why I'm talking about this is because this is a pretty big deal. So, as you can see on my screen, there is a VTuber currently by the name of Cinder. Cinder's very big. She is, well, she has this persona in which she's all bubbly, she's all cheerful, she's all very nice. She's pretty much the definition, well, as of right now, I'm calling her the definition of a Sentinel Prime, or as more people might know her as Ellen DeGeneres. So, okay, here's the deal. She was recently called out for pretty much trying to blindside / gatekeep her artist. So, hang on, I'm gonna move this a little bit more. Nanoless, which was the artist who ended up working with Cinder with some of her designs as well as some of her rigging, from what I heard, ended up making this post. So, hello, I'm here to share something that has affected me personally and hurt others. This was very hard for me, but I feel it is necessary. Please do not send any hate to anyone on my behalf. This is all I want to say. So, right over here is a Google documentation containing a lot of very damning messages from not just Cinder, but also Red, who is her manager / boyfriend. And some of the stuff that is in there is very nasty. It is very hurtful. Long story short, I'm going to try to summarize it. I will put links to all of these documents down in the description box below. But it's pretty much just her showing off how she was apparently trying to, well, Cinder was trying to keep Nano from working with other creators or other artists. And that's a big no-no when it comes to artwork or any artist around, because that is, well, you're pretty much just eliminating the ability for them to create any form of income. And that's only the tip of the iceberg, because there was another one that ended up getting posted by Bao, who is another big VTuber and someone who I also enjoy watching. And it is titled, "I was very hurt by someone I thought was a friend." So this other Google documentation, again, I will have links to all of these in the description box below, goes into detail as to just how Cinder was never really the nicest off camera. Some of the things that she said was very toxic, and it was so disgusting. And she's not the only one who's getting a lot of hate. So, who received a lot of hate from Cinder. Another one, Numi, ended up posting a similar document, but that's not what I'm going to showcase right now. What I want to showcase is Spite, who is a Cerberus themed VTuber. And in her document, she ends up pretty much just showcasing how she was terrible to, well, her fan base was. Apparently, she sent her fan base over to her social media and pretty much just bombarded it with a lot of hateful messages, because her model looked kind of similar to Cinder's. Cinder promotes herself as a hellhound, whereas Spite promotes herself as a Cerberus. And both of the models look pretty similar, but there is no chance that they are the exact same. In fact, they are pretty identical, although in my case, I feel like Cinder should have stuck with a pig instead of a hellhound. And it suits her a lot better, because the last document that ended up getting shared was of her ex-boyfriend, Rayne, and some of the things that she ended up doing. So she was in a relationship with Rayne, and she straight up just cheated on her ex-boyfriend. And to make matters even worse, she tried, well, she didn't try, she succeeded in manipulating him, believing that he was guilty. He was at fault for pretty much her cheating. She was putting the blame on him for her cheating. And that's not okay. I feel very, very bad for Rayne. Now, given he did also showcase in the document just that he himself wasn't exactly innocent in this scenario. In fact, he was pretty guilty of doing something else. Again, read the documents for yourself. But personally, I feel more respect to Rayne because at least, unlike Cinder, Rayne did admit to his mistakes. He admitted, he straight up said that he was guilty, and he was owning up to his mistake, which is something that not everybody can do. And here's a good example as to just some of her stuff. So back when she was, she performed under an alias called Tashi. And this other character, Nyan ended up doing ASMR work. And Tashi was an alias that Cinder worked under, in which she did ASMR / roleplay work. And this was something that was, just because it said Hellhound, she apparently sent some of her fans, this is one of her fans, to pretty much just start, this is just the beginning of the thread. And as you can see right over here, Cinder ended up getting, liking one of the messages that was pretty much just the beginning of harassment. Over here, it reads, "Do we remember when she sent her entire following to attack me because I made an ASMR roleplay with this Hellhound OC and that was copying her?" So yeah, apparently if you had something like remotely which was in line to her stuff, she would try to harass other people. This mean girl behavior is not new. Smaller creators like myself were just intimidated into silence and pretending like it never happened. This is not okay for anybody to do at all. And I have to say this, even though he did, or this person did say that, did start something, I still respect him because over here towards the, closer to the bottom, it reads, "Apologies, I called you cringe. I have definitely changed my behavior since 2021, but you're still owed an apology and best of luck with your career and prosper." And to which Nyan replied, "It takes a lot of courage to grow and learn, bro." So even though this was a while ago, it's still important because it showcases her behavior, and kudos to John Siwa, who has learned from his mistakes, unlike Cinder, who ended up doing this. So Honey VTuber, which is another one of her victims, "You can't trust anyone speaking from experience. I was betrayed by someone who I considered to be my best friend. Despite my closest, most trusted friend, she was plotting against me from the start. I was blind at the time. I never realized the animosity she held towards me, the jealousy she felt. She never seemed to be happy for me, never celebrated my small achievements with me, and lied to so many people. She would go out of her way to spread rumors about me behind my back, telling the people at our school to stop hanging out with me. I started to notice it. People I considered friends started avoiding me, and I couldn't understand why. And one day, one of my classmates came forward telling me how horrible my best friend actually was, and that she was the one shit-talking me. I immediately confronted her about this, and she told me she was jealous and she wanted to keep me to herself. I never spoke to her again." And this kind of behavior is disgusting, but what disgusts me even more is this. So I'm going to enlarge this so that people can see. So, and to top it all off, she would make fun of me for being a SA victim and tell other people that I deserved it because of the way that I dressed. That is heartbreaking. This behavior is absolutely terrible. And here's the thing. So In response to all of this, she has not responded at all, but she did respond to the first accusation, which was the whole gatekeeping of the artist. And this was what she had to say. So, effective immediately, Redacted will no longer be managing or overseeing my VTuber activities. He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry, everyone. I will make a larger response when I am available. To which somebody replied, "You mean your boyfriend?" Yeah, apparently Redacted, well, a lot of people ended up figuring this out, but Redacted is her boyfriend, her current romantic partner. And he's been overseeing a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff involving Cinder's management. However, this is not the biggest issue. So the main issue that comes with this is just how quickly this response was stated. This was literally stated a few hours after the whole gatekeeping of the artist came out. And that's a big red flag, because the fact that, hang on, I'm going to go back over here. The fact that you replied to nanoless that quickly goes to show that you had a response ready, or that she had a response ready, in case anybody tried to question her about this. Not only hours shortly. That's not a good look, like at all. And here's the thing. This response of her immediately throwing her own manager, her own boyfriend, under the bus to try to save her reputation is a big red flag. It's the beginning of narcissism. It's not okay. Here's the thing. At this point, Cinder has three options, the way that I see it. So, she can either A, pretty much just disappear and just never upload anything again, just announce retirement. B, somehow show off that all of these documents that are being leaked or that are being showed are fake, and somehow show off evidence that this is all just a harassment campaign or something. But with the amount of information and the amount of evidence that are on these documents, which again I will be putting in the description box below, the amount of evidence that's in there is very, very tough to beat out. And the last thing that she can do is just acknowledge that she did all of this, apologize, and take a very, very long hiatus. If she does that, she'll at the very least get a bit of a chance to make a comeback if this turns out to be true. Because here's the thing. I'm just showcasing off what's currently been flooding my timeline, and this is very bad. But I will be given the benefit of a doubt. I'm gonna, at the very least, wait until Cinder actually makes a response, because I do want to hear the other side of this story, or these stories. If these stories turn out to be false, somehow, then I'm gonna say this right now. I will own up to it, and I will apologize. But in the meantime, right now, the only thing that I'm doing is just showing off the first part of, well, the first side that is being shown. But I'm going to be completely honest, things are not looking good for this content creator. Things are not looking good for Cinder. Now, even though everything that I'm saying is pretty bad, please don't harass any of these other content creators. Please don't harass anybody in general. Let's keep things much more cordial. I know I just said a few nasty things in this video, but do what I say, not what I do. And that is, don't be toxic, don't be mean, just, if anything, well, the best thing that you can do is to show off some love to Rayne Does Stuff, Spite VTuber, Bow VTuber, and Nanoless. Just give them a follow, send them positive messages, send them all the love that you can muster, because they deserve it in this time. But yeah, that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to just sit down and talk about this.